Hello, Arvalai here. Since we've gotten access to the patch notes for 0.5, I looked through it to see what changes would affect concoctions, and I'm going to discuss them briefly. Unfortunately, searching through the entire page, there are 0 mentions of concoctions, meaning that they get no direct changes, and will have the same functions as they did in the previous league. However, I should note that every damage element got some changes in one form or another, but there are way too many to cover in this video, so I will skip out on doing that. On the other hand, the Pathfinder Ascendancy did see 2 nerfs and a fix. The first nerf is targeted at poison archers by making the less duration downside on overwhelming toxicity even worse, which will make your acidic concoction less effective. The second nerf reduces the amount of less move speed penalty you get from running assault. The second nerf is quite unfortunate, but it does make sense as the development team have been cutting down on move speed penalty reductions across the board, so it was only a matter of time. The fix is that your life flask can now be used while at full life with enduring elixirs allocated. You previously couldn't do this, so that's nice. However, I would suggest giving the new Reverie unique body armor a try. It gives better quality of life by sparing your fingers from pressing your life flask. Though, be aware of the downsides. There are some changes to flasks, but not too many. Something you'll notice early on is that flasks will be more likely to drop at the highest possible tier of that area level, so on average you should obtain a higher charge capacity flask earlier than before. During the fight with Viper when the soldiers would constrict the size of the arena, you would gain some blast charges, so if you still have some issues sustaining your charges at that point, this will be quite helpful. There is a new idol that grants 0.2 charges per second when slotted into a scepter. While you can't equip a scepter without a main hand weapon, you can always have in your second weapon set, and swap between them when you want to have better passive charge generation. But if it's not your style, there's a different unique that might suit your fancy. As for uniques, there have been some teasers on new or reworked uniques that have some applications with the concoctions that I'll give a recap on. As mentioned previously, the new Reverie body armor works with your life flask, granting you constant life recovery, and would be a great pairing with bleeding concoction supported by a concoct support gem, as you can't use your life flask directly. The Holomask got a facelift, and its new granted ability makes it so blooms spawn around you every few seconds and when picked up grants charges corresponding to its type. As this is a 0 attribute requirement helmet, you can find it in the first act if you're lucky, which would make charge sustain that much easier early on. Facebreaker is a returning unique from Path of Exile 1 and works with concoctions as it grants multiplicative damage to your unarmed skills per 5 strength. However, be mindful that the base physical damage does not apply to concoctions, and if you'd want to use mace skills or be eligible to use heralds, both your hand slots need to be empty. It hurts your survivability due to the lack of a shield, but you gain an extra scaler, and more skills to use. Choice is up to you. That is mostly it when it comes to changes from the patch notes on day 1. As of right now, we don't have access to the passive tree, so we don't know what changes the passive nodes have gotten. We might get more info as we get closer to launch, but I doubt they sneak anything in related to concoctions. Those are likely slated for the mid-league challenge events. I'll put any info in the comments if something arises. And have fun practicing alchemy. I'll see you at league launch.